Now, the next man I'm going to welcome up, I had the pleasure of going to high school with him. However, we didn't really become close until about 5 years ago. He came to me with this business idea. And we went on this crazy 8-month adventure with this startup, and we were so close to raising $400,000, and I'm so grateful that we didn't, because we had no idea what we were doing. Anyway, after that, we created a marketing course together. Josh left his job in the corporate world and started a digital marketing agency where he was building websites, running Facebook ads and all of that. And he got to the stage where he thought, it's basically time that he starts helping others. Became a business coach, started a bunch of things including the Magnetic Millionaire Academy. He's getting amazing results for his clients. So ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Giuliani.
Second, let's all just stand up, let's take a moment, let's shake it out, let's just shake it out right now. It's an hour of sitting down, and let's get pumped up. So everyone take a seat. I'm really grateful to be here. Really, that's great, that's good involvement, that's really good. Guys, I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really excited. Oh, we've got Tish and Johan here. What's going on, fellas? Really grateful to be here. I'm excited, and I'm very humble. I'm humbled that Wes asked me to speak at this thing. I just want to say, Wes, what you're doing here, this whole My Name thing is fantastic. And you know, I believe that mindset's really important. So the fact that he's doing this, that he's creating this movement where people are appreciating the power of the mind a little bit more, I think it's really amazing. So Wes, I want to give you a round of applause as well. I want to return the favor to you. So guys, today what I'm talking about is I'm going to talk about how to create magnetism, internal magnetism. Okay? Internal magnetism simply by creating clarity and by experiencing abundance. And I'm going to show you how that will completely change your life just by doing those two things. So before I jump into it, just a little bit about me. I started off when I was 17 years old. I went to homeschool. I went to St. Francis Xavier, and there's a few St. Franny's people in here. Rochelle, what's going on? Yo, St. Franny's. And I got out of that, I had no friggin' idea what I wanted to do, right? And I did what any 17-year-old did that didn't know what to do. I studied advertising, okay? I got into marketing, and I'm seriously grateful that I did that, because it's led me on this whole path that I'm on now, and I ended up working at Fairfax Media for quite a while. I was working with some massive brands. That was my first day at work. My mum took that photo. I haven't changed at all. I still have this tie. So, worked at Fairfax Media for 7 years, but I decided, you know, I wanted to have more impact. I wasn't having any impact. I was just running ads. I was booking ads for Rolex, Breguet, all these big companies, but I wasn't doing anything. So I got out of that and I started my own digital marketing agency, and I still run that to this day. You know, brands, systems, messenger bots, Facebook ads, all that sort of stuff. I was doing it, and it was great. It was a lot of fun, and I love the industry still, but it was not quite where I wanted to be. So I then switched over into the coaching stuff, because what I really enjoy doing is helping people. And like I said, I believe the mindset is really important, and I have the social media strategies. So now I work with people to implement that stuff instead of actually implementing it myself. So I really enjoy doing the coaching side of things. And I just want you to know 3 things about me. Before I move into the presentation, I want you to know 3 things that I believe, that I think is really powerful. First of all, everything starts with messaging. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner, or you're an employee, or you're a husband or wife, whatever. Everything starts with the messaging. It's really important to have your messaging right. Second thing is that social media allows us to globalize my business. That's just something that I believe internally. The third thing, more relevant to today, is that mindset is 80% of the battle. If we can get our mindset right, we can create success, okay? We could have the best strategy on the planet. We could have world-class strategies. We could do exactly what Tony Robbins does from a marketing perspective, but if we don't have our mindset right, we're not going to succeed, okay? So, that's enough about me, okay? This is all about you. Today is all about you, and I want to give you something today, okay? I want to teach you 2 things. I want to teach you to create clarity in your life, and I also want to teach you how to experience abundance, right? So, first of all, I want to just find out, just to show of hands, who has a really clear idea of where they want to be in 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? Who has a really clear idea? Yeah, so 50% of the room. kind of thing. And here's the thing, this is what I see quite often. People have said this to me. People have said, if I don't set a goal, then I won't be disappointed. People are scared of goals. People are scared of setting goals. But that's not the only problem, right? Some people just don't even have an idea of where it is that they want to go, okay? And here's my point. This guy right here, Earl Nightingale, has anyone seen this guy? Does anyone know who this guy is? Has anyone listened to The Stranger's Secret, his audio that he... Yeah, so a lot of people haven't. So I would go talk to Wes Pettit and get him to send you the link because it's absolutely incredible. He talks about by understanding our goals, we have direction and we can actually get somewhere. The metaphor that he uses is, imagine a ship in the harbour, okay? Ship in the harbour, they have a very clear destination. It's sitting in port A, it's going to get to port B. The captain, the crew, everyone on the ship is intending for that ship to get safely and securely from port A to port B. It has that direction. So is it going to get there? Of course it's going to get there. 9,999 times out of 10,000, it is going to get there. Take away port B. Take away that destination. Take away the plan. Is it going to get somewhere? You can leave the captain and the crew on the ship. You can stay motivated. But if there is no port B, the ship's just going to go out into open water and it's just going to sail around. Maybe it'll find a port. Maybe. But there's no meaning. There's no meaning to it. As soon as you add port B, everything that happens on that ship becomes meaningful because you're working towards something. Okay? This is my point. We need to have a vision. We need to have a vision. This is the number one thing that I work on with my clients. When I start working with a new client, we get really clear on what it is that they actually want to achieve. Okay, and there's 5 key areas that I get them to be super clear in, because if you can get clear on these 5 areas, you are clear on where you want to be in the next 12 months. Okay, you got relationship, money, business, health, and spirituality. I would write these down because I want you guys, if you do nothing else after this presentation, is to go away and have a think about this. Write these 5 areas down on a piece of paper. Put some music on if you want. Definitely put some music on. This is your life we're talking about. We want to create results for yourself. I want you to have fun with it. I want you to have a lot of fun with it, because what we're trying to do is create that port B for you so that everything that you do day in, day out has meaning. Okay, and I want you to go really deep internally. I want you to get really clear on each of these 5 areas. Relationship. Are you single? Do you want a relationship? Picture what she looks like or what he looks like. What color hair? What does the laugh sound like? What do you guys do on a Thursday night? Get really clear on what this looks like. Maybe you're in a relationship and you want it to be slightly different. What does it look like? With money, how much money? I want you to picture yourself pulling out your phone and actually put in your code. Put in your code in your phone. Picture that. When we close our eyes and we start picturing these things, we enter the metaphysical world. There's the physical world. Then we close our eyes and we're in the metaphysical world. And our brain cannot tell the difference between the two of them. So if we close our eyes and picture ourselves pulling out our phone, putting in our code, and seeing a massive number in your account, it fires new neurons in our brain. We create new connections in our brain. And that's the whole point here. We want to create the route to port B for you guys. And by going deep and experiencing in detail what you want for all 5 of these categories, you start creating that route. I want you to go really, really deep. Guys, there are 3 levels of awareness, right? There's intellectual. You can say, with the relationship stuff, you can say, yeah, I want a girlfriend. That's intellectual. That is intellectual. You're just saying it. There's no feeling behind it. What we want to do when we get really deep and we get detailed about what happens, maybe we're picturing going for a hike with our girlfriend up this mountain. We get to the top. We put out this picnic blanket. We've got this picnic basket. It's filled with strawberries. We've got chocolates in there. All of a sudden, we're experiencing this. I'm looking at my girlfriend. She's looking at me. We tell each other, I love you. Now you're feeling the emotion. So we've taken it to that next level. And I want you to do that for all 5 of those sections. Now, here's the thing. This third level is a tough one to crack. Identity. And Lee touched on it in his presentation, right? Is that the identity, when we become who it is that we want to be, when we actually embody Port B, when we become the ship, there's no way that we can't get to Port B. But here's the number one thing that I see stopping people is that their identity aren't aligned with what they actually want to create for themselves. Okay, the number one thing that I see preventing people from growing, and I'm a business coach, is their relationship with money. And that's what I want to talk with you guys about today. Maybe you're not a business owner, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be relevant for you. We each have a financial thermostat. A cap to the amount of money that we think that we are worth. And what we want to do is lift that cap. Because let me ask you a question. If we've created this vision for ourselves, and in the vision we want to go traveling the world with our family, we maybe want to get a promotion in our job, we want to make 50K more in our business. These are all financial goals. We need money to make these things happen. And if our stories that we're telling ourselves around money aren't aligned with that vision that we want to create for ourselves, we're not going to be able to fulfill that vision because the internal stories tell us that we can't. This is a legitimate conversation I had with someone. So I'm a business coach. I'm talking with people all day long from all different countries, all different cultures, all types of different people. And I was saying to this guy, I'm like, mate, I'm pumped. I am pumped. I can help you. I know you. I understand you. I can give you the tools. I can give you everything that you need to make money. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. Let's do this. And he goes to me, Josh, I don't believe it's easy to make money. He goes, it's too hard to make money. And I said, well, let's look at this a different way. Let's look at this a different way. What are your goals? I know that people in your industry, I can help you make 5, 10, 15, 20K a month. What do you want to do? How much do you want to make? And he goes, oh, I only want to make $1,000 a month. Does anyone here, who earns less than $1,000 a month here? Put your James headband. So here's the thing, right? His story that he told himself, he's like, I can't earn $1,000 a month. So this is what's going to happen with this guy. He's going to struggle, all the way up to $1,000 a month, and he's not going to make $1 more. Because that's his belief system, that's his identity. So if then he does my exercise and he does those 5 categories, it's like, I want to travel on a private jet around the world. You can't do that on $1,000 a month. So we need to lift your financial thermostat. Okay, we want to lift the financial thermostat. Let me ask you a question. Does this man think that it's too hard to make money? Does this man think that you shouldn't make more than $1,000 a month? His financial thermostat is set so much higher than this guy that I was speaking with. It's ridiculous to this guy. And the reason this guy can make money is because his financial thermostat is set so high that money just comes to him. He believes that that's how much money he should be making. He's experienced that before. So his belief system around money is that money just comes to me. Money just happens. It's by an airline. It's all good. Money will come. So what we want to do is increase your financial thermostat. A great way that it was described for me, right, is this graph here, right? Everyone has, and there's some Forex traders in here. Is there some Forex traders? So I've just thrown in a little Easter egg for you guys. So there's a resistance and there's a support, okay, for our financial thermostat. This is just one way of looking at it. It's not an exact science, but this is one way of looking at it, right? So we each have a max that we think that we're worth. There is an actual dollar figure out there that we think that we are worth, and any more than that, my girlfriend's not here, so I'm going to say this story, but we were looking at some jobs for her. She wants to look at a new job. And we got up to like the $100,000 jobs, and she's like, oh, no. Let's lower that amount. Why? If you can do the job, why shouldn't you make $100,000? It's because some people think that they're not worth that. They're more comfortable being paid 60, 70, 80 grand a year because that's all they think they're worth. And this is what happens. There's also a support. So there's like a minimum that we I guess you could say, that we think that we're worth, right? With the minimum that we need to survive. Has anyone ever experienced like, oh yeah, I just make enough money to pay for rent, pay for the bills, and I have nothing left over? It's because you're reaching that support. So what happens is that we have this natural rhythm where we go from our support to our resistance, back to our support to our resistance, back to our support, back to our resistance. We're playing in this field. And if we ever go below the support, you know what happens? You find a way to bring it back up. And if you ever go above the resistance, you know what happens? You find a way to lose it. So the goal, therefore, becomes to lift both of these. To take both of these higher up, so that the game that you play in, instead of being $500 and $1,000 for this guy, becomes $5,000 and $10,000, or $15,000 and $20,000, or higher and higher and higher. So then the money that just comes to you is of a higher value, okay? The question becomes then, how can we increase our financial thermostat? I've got 4 systems for you. I've got 4 things that I want everyone to try because they are extremely powerful exercises and they're not hard. I'm going to give you really easy stuff here. Stuff that you can implement. Stuff that you can implement. Okay? So the first thing is, write a crazy story. I want you to write the craziest story about yourself in relation to money. I want you to be like, I was having a cupcake with the Queen. And a Learjet came and picked us up. Pierce Brosnan was in there. He was dressed in a tux. He handed me a glass of champagne. We flew to Richard Branson's island. We partied with Justin Bieber. We're throwing $100 bills around. We're having a crazy time. It was ridiculous. And I just want you to have a piece of paper in front of you, and I just want you to keep writing and not stop until there's no room left on that paper. Because what we're doing is we're trying to increase your internal blockages around money. We're trying to reduce the blockages, and we're trying to increase that thermostat. By going crazy with it, by going over the top, we can pull it up a little bit. We give it a bit of a push. Okay, and I'm talking rich. I'm not just talking, we went and bought a 52-inch screen from JB Hi-Fi. I'm talking rich, oligarch rich. Pierce Brosnan, I'm a big fan. I grew up in the Pierce Brosnan generation.
Yeah, that's money. That is fucking money.
Pierce Brosnan. James Bond, bro. James Bond.
Gold? Is it 997?
So like I said before, what we're doing by experiencing these things, in our mind, and what's naturally going to happen is you're going to be going, your brain's going to be racing. You're going to be picturing yourself wearing nice clothes, doing crazy things with money, being around money. And what we're doing is we're firing new neurons in your brain. We're trying to connect new neurons so that the way that you think about money changes. That's the ideal goal here. The second thing that you can do is just be around money. Have it with you at all times. What I do is I have a couple of hundreds in my wallet at all times, just to be around it. Who wants it? Yeah. Who wants the money? Done. Right here. See, money has a smell. Money has like a feel. And you be around money and you'll be surprised if you just have money in your hands. The feeling of it. What are you thinking right now looking at this money?
Pay me the money and I'll take it. I buy so much drugs. We're not so much.
One way to do. One way to do with it. So I want you to become friends with it, right? You know, if you meditate with money in your hand. Money is just energy, right? All this is energy. This is just a piece of paper. This is nothing, but it controls us in such a deep way. What I want to do for you is I want to increase your relationship with it. I want you to have a better relationship with these pieces of paper. So take a couple of $100 out. You're not going to notice, like if your financial thermostat will survive. If you take a couple of $100 out of the bank, you will find a way to get that back. Okay, I guarantee you that. Just have it in your wallet, have it in your hands. If you meditate with this in your hand. There's an energy, there's a force field. I want you to know the smell. I want you to know that John Monash is on the back here. It's John Monash. I've looked at his face every day for so long just to get used to having it around me all the time. And that will increase your relationship with it. And when we increase our relationship with it, more of it comes to us. Okay, the third thing we can do is change our money story. Lee mentioned stories a lot: identity, beliefs, limiting beliefs. I want you to get real with yourself and spend some time, again, put some music on, chill out, and just think to yourself, what are my stories around money? What do I believe about money? And what we want to do is we want to write those down. Once they come to you, and they will come to you, ask your unconscious, what is my belief around money? What's the story I tell myself? Is it too hard to make it? Should I only make 60 grand a year? What are the stories that you tell yourself? And then once you know what those are, once you've pinpointed them, you write them on a piece of paper. Lee mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza talks about this. If you write these thoughts on a piece of paper, you create this distance between yourself and those thoughts. Those thoughts are not you. You dissociate yourself from these thoughts. It's called metacognition. You dissociate yourself from these thoughts. Then, now that you have them in front of you, think about what's the opposite story. What should I be telling myself? Write those down. Now you have the opposite stories to the ones that you've been telling yourself probably for years. You start telling yourself these stories on a daily basis. Just become really aware of yourself, aware of your thoughts, and create this list. It loses all power over you once you write them down on a piece of paper. Okay, and the fourth thing, well, and the power of language is huge, right? So once we actually talk about it, once we start saying the opposite story on a daily basis, things happen internally. We make shifts. The fourth thing is experience abundance. It's actually really easy to do this, right? So we want to experience the abundant lifestyle, but we don't have to spend $1 million to experience the abundance lifestyle, right? So I'll give you a few examples right now. Go to Gold Class cinemas. Don't bother with normal cinemas anymore. Go to Gold Class. You get sat down. They go, hey, would you like a drink? You order a drink. They bring a drink to you. You get taken in. They go, oh, your movie's ready now, and you can go walk over. They bring you drinks during the movie and stuff. You experience that lifestyle, and it only costs, like what, $40 for a ticket and then $40 more for a little bit of food. For $80, we can experience the abundance lifestyle at the movies. Business class flights. I have credit cards. I'm sure there's people who has a credit card here. Does anyone have a credit card? So when I had an Amex and I spent the amount that I needed to spend for the bonus points, got 100,000 points. I'm flying to Bali in June, business class. I'm experiencing the business class experience because this is the way that I want to travel from now on. So I'm going to experience it right now. And I'm going to capture that feeling. The entire time that I'm there, I'm going to be saying to myself, I am worth this. I can get used to this. Just a couple of weeks ago, I went to a Porsche dealership. Just went in there, and they were like, hey. And I was like, hey. And they're like, what are you looking for? I'm like, shopping around. And I just sat in every Porsche in that dealership. Experienced the feeling of it. I captured that feeling. I was telling myself, I am worth this. I am going to have a Porsche. And I was experiencing driving around in that Porsche. I was just like, I was there. I was taking photos. I was doing that. After a while, they would have known that I was just there. I was taking Instagram stories. You know what I'm saying? Tim knows what I'm saying. So this is what I'm saying, guys. But how much did that cost me? Nothing. So I did these three things, right? I did the gold class. I do this often. I'm doing the business class. I got the Porsche. Did I mention that I got the business class for free? I don't think I mentioned that. I got so excited that I just didn't even mention that. But I had the points from the credit card. I just paid for the whole flight with the points. Didn't pay a cent, and you can do this. It's quite easy. All of these three things, experiencing these abundant lifestyle situations, only costed me $80. That was it. to experience these things. So what I'm saying to you is, whatever it is that you want to experience it now. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about people, they think to experience love, we have to find the partner. To experience abundance, we have to find the money. But if we experience abundance first, if we experience the love first, then we find those things. These things come to us, they flow to us because we create that port B in our mind. All right, so there's two things I want you to remember. I want you to remember to get clear on your vision. Do that exercise, go through those 5 sections, and get really clear on what it is that you want to create in those 5 sections for yourself. Okay? Promise me you're going to do that. Then, ask yourself, be real with yourself. Will my financial thermostat prevent me from getting there? Be real. Are these intentions that I'm setting, is this vision that I'm setting for myself, is it aligned with the kind of money that I believe I should be making? Is it aligned with the stories that I tell myself around money? And if they're not, go ahead and try these 4 things. Lift that financial thermostat, experience that abundance, and get better results. Thank you.